What's up, everybody? Joseph R. Wheeler III, the artist, the founder, and the president of the ONYXCON Foundation. Out here getting a little bit of that ONYXCON fitness. That is another one of our pages you can follow over on our Instagram, in addition to our main hub, at ONYXCON. We have at ONYXCON, at ONYXCON Fitness, at ONYXCON Style, at ONYXCON Rides, at ONYXCON Outdoors, and at ONYXCON Music. Check them all out. Appreciate you. Yes. Beautiful day. Looks like it's going to rain, but it's one of those days where it probably won't. It's just cloudy. So let's speak about the sunshine and the clouds. Topics of, and I'm not saying clouds like clouds are a bad thing either, but I guess people could imply that because words start to grow meaning, and over time, words grow new meanings. And that's kind of today's topic and a concern I have about something I've been noticing. It's definitely not new, but with what's happening in popular culture, makes me wonder if people who are intellectuals, who tend to be aware of the effects of words and the impact of historical value of words and language, really understand what time we're in for a paradigm shift in the human experience. So, before I start, let me say I am a BFA, Bachelor's of Fine Arts graduate. I'm an artist in every sense of the word. I don't claim to be a historical scholar in the sense of a diploma in history, but I am somebody who loves history and learned to love history on many levels at different times in my life, okay? I want to make that very clear as I move forward, because I'm speaking in particular about someone who is a scholar of history, who is someone who can speak with authoritative conviction on a great many topics, and does so very well in an interview that she recently did, and it's up right now. It's viewing over on the very famous now Club Shay Shay, where Shannon Sharpe, ex-NFL football player, well, forever will be a legend for his history as an athlete, but is now a very famous talk show host for his podcast. I only do the quotes because the word podcast for what to me is it's just a show. But people call everything a podcast when it's an interview nowadays, when what really was a podcast, again, the meaning of words, when they first started, were only audio. There was no visual. It was just audio talk shows. He did a recent interview with the very beautiful, very intelligent, very scholarly Amanda Seales. I first want to say I am an Amanda Seales fan, okay? For her celebrity and what she has built herself to be as a celebrity, I like Amanda Seales. I think she's incredibly captivating, not just because of how pretty she is and all of that. The thing that really attracts me to her is the fact she's not just a pretty face, that she is a thinking person, that she has a hell of a lot to say. She does know a lot about history. She does know a lot about particular topics that she focuses on as a scholar. And she revealed in this interview, if you didn't already know, because it's not the first time she said it, that she actually has a degree in the study of Black history, of racism in this country and around the world, and the contexts of race and how it's been used to control and manipulate people. So she ain't no joke. She's the real deal. And she also confesses to having a lot of trials and tribulations that she has been through, personal and, mental challenges, being autistic, which I did not know until this interview. I had not realized that she has a form of autism. It made more sense about some of the things I've seen on her videos, especially on Instagram, because I follow her on Instagram, and she loves to do these shorts, where sometimes longs, where she'll show something and do a reaction video and stuff like that, and it's typically dealing with racial injustice. Sometimes it's just heartfelt, warm moments, things she wants to bring you highlight to that are beautiful and wonderful and all that. But she does tend to deal especially with the rough stuff and give her interpretation and thoughts on it. And then she allows folks to go all crazy in the comments, and of course she'll chime in with them. She'll go head to head with them when they are not seeing eye to eye on the facts, or what should be a more progressive perspective on certain things that are disturbing in our societies. And I commend her for that. I totally commend her for that. she broke down a lot of things, talking about her time on Insecure, Issa Rae's show. I was surprised again. This is the thing that Shannon has become known for. He was always giving you the in-depth interview, great interviewer. Shannon is just a natural. And as somebody who does those myself, I admire whenever I see people on his level do it the level he does it. And so she spoke on her time on Insecure of not being very happy at one point, and all the way from that point to the end of her time on the show, because it came to a close with its final season. And she spoke of how particularly one of the male actors who she described in such detail that someone who watches the show might be able to figure out who she was speaking of. But she said that she got into a bit of trouble on the show. And it was particularly because offset, not during a scene, someone had left a quote from Malcolm X in her trailer, and she was trying to figure out who had left it for her, because she's very revolutionary, very for the cause of black people, and whoever sent it probably knew she would appreciate that. So she knew this one guy who she felt was, in her words, the most, and this is her quoting, she said, I felt he was the most revolutionary on the set, right? And I'm not gonna finish the word, because you get enough of that anywhere. Anybody can say that all day, every day, all over the place on the internet. And I got issue with that, first and foremost. Secondly, if you want to see it for yourself, definitely watch the interview, support Shannon Sharpe, support Amanda Seales. But she said she was in shock that the dude went to whomever on set to have grievances when there's issues like that. And I'm an actor myself, so I know how this can be on Hollywood sets, and how particular and weird the atmosphere can get with people who you think you're cool with and say just one word the wrong way, and then suddenly rather than say it to your face, I didn't like that or whatever. And I will say, she said the guy checked her immediately and said, "Hey, I'm not an N. Like, don't call me that." And she was like, "Oh, okay, right." And then she was like, "Well, I wonder who left that in my trailer," and kept on moving. She didn't make a big deal of it. She thought he was not making a big deal of it after she just said, well, if it's not you, then who was it? But because she didn't outright say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call you that, I won't do it again," or whatever, she got in trouble. And she was offended by that. And she went on to even to call the dude, and lightheartedly in the interview, call him a B. "I should have called you a B." I said, wow. And, and Shannon's laughing along because, it's in the moment, it was humor. But this was my thing about that moment, right? And I want to make it very clear. I like Amanda Seales. I'd love to meet her. I think we probably get along and hit it off really well and be good friends, But as two artists and people who understand so much about art and history and different causes for quote unquote black folks. Okay, but that's the thing, right? In the history of black people, African Americans, Negro once upon a time, and at the worst, the cast word, the N-bomb, okay, in terms of all the words that were used to define us in this hemisphere, in America, okay? First and foremost, the word black itself comes from blackamoor, and it was invented in the 1500s. So that would be a 14 whatevers, okay, years. We were talking way the hell back, but not so far back in the whole guise of human existence and the fact that all humanity spawned from Africa, okay? Or what became known as Africa, because there are those who would say, well, it's not even Africa, it's Alkebulan. And I like that word. It's going to take some time for folk to get with it. And I still have my thoughts on that because I'm researching that word. But I go back to the word Alkebulan and Africa and all that to say, in the history of everything we've been, and I say we meaning people of direct African descent, which I am, okay, amongst the other descent I have, other genealogy I have European genes, I have indigenous native genes, and possibly other genes I'm not even aware of and may never be aware of. And I'm proud to be aware of all of them. And I'm especially proud to know of those African core roots, because I see them reflected. Everything I've researched about the peoples I know I come from, I can see it reflected in my family. I can see it reflected in other peoples I'm close to and how we have certain commonalities. And I just love that. It's what brings it all together and gives you a place of origin and a true history that we always knew was there. But until you do the gene work, the swab test, shout out AfricanAncestry.com. So, you know, and knowing the things I know now about myself and my history and all of that, and knowing the origin of words, right? I'm bringing up the definition of black and the etymology of black for a reason, because in the etymology of black and how it references people, okay, like I said, it came from black or Moor. Moor itself was like another version of the word black when referring to people. It was meant to just simply define anybody of a darker complexion. That's it. And then we come from so many different ethnic groups, AKA tribes, AKA kingdoms, all of these different communities that we came from. And those are the true identities of who, as a multitude, as a diaspora, we truly are. So let's get down to this problem I had with what happened with my sister, Amanda Seales, and what she had to say about that moment. What bothered me was her, I don't know, I will say this, I don't know how this guy she was referring to was and his mannerisms and everything. She made the joke that just because he was tatted from head to toe, eating edibles, marijuana-based, high-inducing edible treats on set all the time, and being from Detroit, she said, that's some N stuff. And he got offended with being called an N. I said, oh, wow. Now, if you black from America and you understand the various, and I do mean various because it's highly complicated, right? I mean very complicated. When you are black, not some hip hopper of other ethnicities that just wants to be down and understand. I'm saying when you are black, there's so many levels to that word, and the ways it gets used and the ways it get implied and everything, that even if you did understand her joke, you still ain't really feeling it unless you are. And I would say the same would be true of any ethnicity and the different things we all have that make us unique. Things are said that are slurs that might be used lightheartedly amongst each other, or so-called term of endearment. But my biggest issue with it is, in my whole lifetime, I've never felt so much endearment in the ways it typically gets used. I've felt it sometimes, but it's rare. Most of the time, when it's said in a so-called endearing way, it's not very endearing. It's hard. It's holding people back. It's meant to keep you amongst us. Don't go no further than where we at. Don't try to be too far outside the box. Don't try to be too different. Just accept that this is what you are, all you gonna ever be, all of that type of stuff. It's a lot of layers to it. So when she got offended that he didn't want to be called that, I got offended in the moment for whoever this was, not so much because I would think that if I met whoever he is, that I would be right on page with him. We probably would have a lot of, from what she described, we probably have a lot of differences that would keep us from being, necessarily in total cahoots, but I understood where he was at when he said, don't call me that. And I've done that to people when they went there with me. When black folks was thinking, oh, it ought to be all right. We all, what's the big deal? And they dropped it. And I said, I got a quote on that daily. I may hear it in certain songs and stuff, but that's about my limit. I really don't want to be called that. And most people would quickly be like, yo, respect, no disrespect. I didn't mean to. Cool, and we kept it pushing. And to this day, we're friends because of that. Because in that moment, when they had a moment to respect my perspective, they didn't challenge it. So I feel it's one of those things as time goes on and generations and everything changes, we don't have to, but I think it would behoove everyone to consider everyone's perspective, to not just think it ought to be all right with the word that is loaded. it really lands right there and ends right there. Certain words are loaded. And to pretend that they're not, just because you're amongst a certain group of like individuals in some way or form or fashion that you feel I'm at home enough that I think everybody ought to be at home with me, the way I define being at home. No. And this is why I've been saying, and I will continue to say, ever since the phrase became popular in the last, I'll take it back, I'll give everything 10 years because I'm aware of it being more popularized in the last 5, but it could have been older than that. But when people said for the culture, and using it the way they're using it now, of course, these words have been here infinitum in the English dictionary. But in the way we use them in popular hip hop culture, when people say for the culture, they are really, in general, most of the time, trying to define, I say trying because depending on the circumstances, it could be trying to define a lot of things and sum them up under one big thing and say, and that's our culture. There is no our complete, and there is no one culture. We will always, for those of us who are of the African diaspora, the direct descendants of African ancestry, and like I say, everybody is, but those of us who are of direct African ancestry will always have a link. But to pretend that because of that, we are automatically going to always understand each other from all the differences. I say the cultures, and I don't think anybody should be offended in making sure we acknowledge how many possibilities there are. As a matter of fact, it enriches us and it helps us to feel more of the confidence a lot of us who are fighting so hard for everybody to have their rights and their individualism, you get it from acknowledging that there are differences. You will get it from acknowledging that we do have some differences and we should have some differences. And there are borders and boundaries for everybody as individuals and as communities, as families, and all of that, as genders, quite frankly. All right, in this day and age, I mean, come on, you know, I am a heterosexual black man. I am not trying to pretend or even want to act like, even with anything I've researched, that I fully understand anyone else's orientation. So I'm a scholar enough to have a discussion on a certain level, but I'm not going past a certain point out of respect for the fact that it's not the path I live. So when this man said to her, don't call me that, and she got offended and described how he looked as if that ought to be reason enough why she could have gotten away with it. And at one point she did add that made me laugh so hard. She said, we say the N-bomb on the show. Every episode, all the time, we said it on the show. And Shannon was just quiet on that. And I laughed again because I loved the show. I watched the show. But I didn't love it for that. Matter of fact, that was the one, that right there, the overusage of the N-bomb and those black women calling each other bitch this, bitch that as friends, and how I know that's common that women do that. Oh, anyway, bitch. Oh, shit, bitch. We going to the club, bitch. Come on, bitch. We gonna turn up, bitch. I've been around women who talk like that. And I've also been around women who would never talk like that. Who are of the same age, the same demographic generation, add it all up. Give it all, goddammit. They're not doing that. And they would not. They would not. They refuse to go there. So why is it that when someone challenges and says, no, I know you're looking at me thinking I got tats on from Detroit or whatever the brother said, all the things that, you know, if he didn't want that, I see that. I understand that. I understand that a little bit, you know. I may not have went there in the way he did or got to take it to her. No, I wouldn't have. I would have told her to her face what I said, and I would have made her acknowledge it. I can't make her, but I would have, you know, made it very firm and obvious that, yo, I know they do what they do on this show, and I know this is, see, the problem with set life, and I know I've been on sets like this, whatever's happening on the stage, in the scene, whatever the atmosphere of the show itself, the art, okay, if it is an art, because I'm an artist that knows how to define that personally, okay, if they really in on it, you know, people can be in a character all day, people can be doing method acting, there's a lot of ways about it, But at no point, if you're a professional, do you need to cross the line of bringing what's in the script into the, after they say cut. They say rolling, we rolling. I'm in character. They say cut, they say cut. I may still personally in my mind be in character, but I gotta find a way to deal with that so that if I'm playing a dude called N-Bomber and all he does is drop the N-bomb, well, guess what? I can't be walking around speaking to everybody on set calling them that. And it would behoove, I love that word, anyone in that position not to do so. Though there have been those environments where I've been on set and people do just that. They flippant with it. I've even been on sets where people amongst, it's multi everybody there. And they're still acting like, everybody's not present and everything said ought to be okay for everybody who is. It's like, what the? Are y'all like, this is one of the biggest problems with generation gaps. I'm proud to come from a time where, everything ain't perfect by no means about my generation. There ain't never been one to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfection. But in striving for high 90s or the concept of 100, percent of the best of everything, we were raised, folks say this word, and when they said it, it's amongst us. It's our redefining it for us, by us, and only us. It ain't allowed by nobody else. And that's hard to define sometimes because people's genes, we mix up in many ways and look all kind of ways. And even with that rule, if you don't know, just don't. That was how it was from where I come from. There's somebody else from the same age bracket as me saying, that ain't how we were. We say around anybody. We call anybody. That was y'all. That's why I say, for the cultures. Because you can't tell me that your story is all of my story for Atlanta. I'm ATL forever. Born here. Not necessarily going to die here. I am going to be anywhere I want to be in this world. And I love going. That's something she said that I could have went through the TV and wanted to hug her. Amanda said, and this is, let me just say it. Amanda Seals said, and I'm not quoting directly, if I'm off by one word or two, whatever. We have been duped in so many, this is definitely not a quote. This is me using my words, paraphrasing. In so many words, been duped to think we should just be the ones to stay here. If she did in her own words say, we ought to be all right with just consumerism, where white folks go anywhere they want to go in the world. And we're the inventors of everything. We're the beginning of everything. And we've lost our general embrace of that. Not to say that she wasn't trying to say black folk don't travel. She said most of us, and I knew what she meant. Like most black people do not have a passport. And she got in trouble for, in so many words, again, not her quote, paraphrasing based on what I recall of what she was saying. She got in trouble for, I think she tweeted something she said, or said something on social media about, for black men, if you got more Jordans than you got passport stamps, you need to get your life together. Like, do some better stuff that is going to enrich you, And she wasn't saying, and she said in this interview in so many words, she's not saying there's anything wrong with consumerism. She's sitting in the interview with a fly outfit that I know costs a lot of money or whatever. So it's like she ain't saying that. She's just saying have the best of all worlds. Because other people who y'all keep comparing yourselves to and making rich by buying all these clothes, they do it all. They don't just dress. We can keep dressing and being the flyest. But save some of that money and go and save a lot of that money and go places. Be global. Think outside boxes. So I think that's the other part that hurt me about her being offended with the cat, checking her on, calling them the N-word. I personally think she was most offended that he went and told on her on set, and got her in trouble with management of the production. That's where I think the gripe really was. I don't think she would have cared. The way she reacted, like she said in the moment, she didn't really make a big deal of it. She probably put a mental note, okay, don't ever call him that anymore. He ain't cool with it. And it would have been all right? But when he went in, I'm gonna tell on you and all that. And I'm not hearing me say this too. That phrase, snitches get stitches. Hold on, wait a minute. That's some hood shish from the streets. And it only applies to folk in cahoots doing crime together. It don't apply to you working on a set in a corporate environment, because at the end of the day, it's still corporate. And it's still managed. It's still by the books of legal parameters and things you have to abide by if you want to keep making money in that industry and be a part of the unions and everything else involved. And she, in so many words, confessed that she's always had her conflicts with that world because of that. She wants to just be herself, and at the same time, she wants to make the check that's available on that side because she's damn good at it. She's an excellent actress. She's been acting since she was 8 years old, I think she said in the interview. So it's nothing's lost on her about the process. She knows what she's doing. And I can't help but think that she just probably, like I say, got offended thinking, I thought we were all good, because she said many times in the interview, I feel attacked by when I think I'm in black spaces. And she's like, what the hell is a black space? Because every time I think I'm among so-called just us, we always turning on each other and doing everything. I relate. I understand. And again, it goes back to, for what culture? There is no one. There probably never will be. And it's okay. You're talking about modern day 54 countries. Second largest continent in the world. Is all of Asia unified? Russia is part of Asia. India is part of Asia. China, Japan, Korea. Do I need to go on? They have separate nations. If you go far enough in one direction, the people's looks change. Their demographics, their genealogy pool, their phenotypes. And then there will be those gradients of people that are still looking way different from the masses who exist in these places. The browner people in the whitest part of Russia, the browner people in the parts of Asia that people don't think anybody looks that way, but they are there. Yes. And even amongst them, how somebody looking got shit to do with how they might be thinking. Everybody's got different ways. And it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's supposed to be that way. It's a flower garden called humanity. And so for that, that's my words for what I witnessed in that interview. And now I'm gonna have to chop this up and edit it so that y'all will pay attention to my main points. But I hope you got something from it. And I don't think this will ever be seen by her personally, but if it ever is, hey, for the record, Amanda, sister, for the most part, I absolutely love your energy. Hope to one day work with you. Knowing how this business goes, I might. But I feel you. I just say be as conscious as we see that you are, even in scenarios where you're amongst folk thinking, you don't want people to assume things about you. You can't assume things about other people, and you can't take it light when they react. Even when you don't want to accept that, when you think, man, this dude looking like this and acting like this, how he gonna get on me about? Even with that, you got to give it a little benefit of the doubt and say, okay, all right, I respect your point of view. And most importantly, I respect your individualism, because I'll damn sure, as she will, fight for hers. So why won't you think other people won't fight for their individualism? That's all I got for y'all today, yo. Hope y'all got something from it. This has been ONYXCON's The Business.